We are trying to heal our neural pathways in 2025 by cutting up dog treats. That's what this is come to. So today's video, I want to talk about the mostly like screen and phone hygiene practices that I'm using in furtherance of my no-buy year for 2025. Honestly, I think that we need to reframe these things as tools. Our phones serve as tiny little malls wrapped in the structures of a casino. And the stated goal by the people who make them and the people who create software for them is to suck up as much as our time, energy, and money as they possibly can at any hour of the day, at any moment, for any reason, whenever possible. And I want to get off that. These things I think I'm going to be talking about today that are aiding me in this process of getting away from buying stuff are tied to a general reduction in my screen time. I totally recommend, if you are working through this process and this cycle, it is an imperative part, because otherwise this is just a temptation factory, and it's deliberately set up for you to fail. So if you're new here or you haven't seen my face in a while, I've taken a new turn for this channel. I'm a recovering shopping addict. I worked in the luxury resale industry for 10 years. I modeled professionally, and I was here influencing for the majority of that time. So like, we're working through a lot of stuff here on this journey to kick consumerism. So we're going to be talking about ways to get over consumerism. I'm doing a no-buy for 2025, and like I said, kind of working through some of the thought processes as well as the behaviors and just some other abstract concepts here on this channel. So if that is interesting to you, if that is something that you would like to join in on, then please hit the subscribe button. And by the way, topic of the video is, what are you doing in furtherance of your no-buy? I'm mostly focusing on screen stuff today, but if you have anything that you want to add in the comments, please comment them down below. And there's a huge community of no-buyers out here on the internet now. So please add your comments, feedback, thoughts, tips, suggestions, all that. Comment it down below. I talked about this before, but like, anything that is designed to be addicting in spite of my well-being, anything that does that means me harm. And I don't want to play into these apps and these corporations and these companies and these app developers that literally mean me harm. It is not in my best interest to suck away 2 hours like crushing fruit together. It is not in my interest to do that, right? And they deliberately design the games the same way they would a casino. And as a person who doesn't go to casinos, like, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I expect from you. And I'm shifting my attention. I'm shifting like my brain source. That's not the right way to say that. Elsewhere to other things or to nothing. Step 1 with the phone and the no-buy. Take credit cards off of Apple Pay. This is the most obvious thing. I don't know how I allowed myself to do this. The point of it being so convenient is for you to spend more money, full stop. No conveniences that these corporations allow us that is not in furtherance of their bottom line. At no point do these corporations give a single shit about our convenience unless it is unless the purpose is to serve them and to remove more money from your pockets into theirs, right? And nothing is more in furtherance of their bottom line than keeping, access to, your credit cards and everything at the tap of a phone. One thing I would also suggest doing is, and I have suggested this in the past, unsave all of your credit cards from any of the websites that you use. Take it off of your PayPal, take it out of your Amazon account. So whenever you are confronted with the option to make a purchase online, it really does mentally change things and give you like time to think, time to refocus, and really time to decide whether or not whatever you're about to buy is truly worth purchasing if you're excited about it. If you have to walk across the room, enter your credit card payment details in, just adding that extra like minute or two really just gives you the opportunity to think critically about it and decide if that's something that you truly actually need or if it's just satisfying. The second one, this is big and it's controversial, and I understand that not everyone is in a position to be able to do this. Get off of social media, specifically short form social media. We're going to talk about social media in depth a little bit later, but I quit Instagram last year and I haven't really been on it since. I don't know what the atmosphere is like over there. What I hear about TikTok is that it's just a giant commercial. Everyone on there is selling something. The TikTok shop has just made the entire app into just one giant selling platform. It's basically become Amazon Live. First and foremost, that does not sound like a compelling or entertaining or engaging experience in the first place. And given that that's not the case, if you don't feel like you're having fun there, if you don't feel like it's a good time for you, then you should get off of it. Year 2025 is the year that I'm being selfish as hell about my money, my time, my energy, my effort, and my resources. And I'm not devoting a single iota of energy of any of those things, especially in my recreational time where I'm not enjoying it at the bare minimum. So short form content, especially from influencers and the like, is just an invitation of showing you things to buy. And if you're not trying to buy things, then I don't know what else it's doing. Now, you can try to retrain your algorithm, you can create a new account, but ultimately, I haven't found that it's been worth it, and I got off of it. I recommend you at least giving it a shot, or at the bare minimum, like turning it off for like a day at a time. And this is definitely an overwrought sentiment, but I do think it bears repeating. This isn't a stream of passive entertainment that advertisers are paying billions of dollars to Meta and TikTok and whatever the other companies are to have access to you. You are the product on social media. And if you remove yourself from that, if we all remove ourselves from it because we know it's not serving us, then they lose a little bit of power, and I think that's a good thing. I never got into TikTok, but the only time I do get on it is to find like B-roll and like side example clips to put onto here, and I just do that for my desktop. It's not something that I'm like, scrolling through my phone. And I recommend it. I recommend it. I at least recommend giving it a shot. Find something else to do with your time. So this one is specific to me and my vice. My vice was clothing shopping. I deleted all of the shopping apps off of my phone. So my main thing that I would do was scroll through the shopping apps. My hugest one was The RealReal. I also did Zara, Forever 21. ThreadUp was a big one that I would just constantly scroll through. Poshmark, ThreadUp, eBay. No, I kept eBay. So some people scroll Twitter. Most people do Instagram and TikTok. And after I deleted social media, my doom scrolling was just the shopping apps. That's where I would go when my brain needed a rest, needed a reset. And before you know it, I have 20 things in my cart. That ends in 2025. And it's like, again, setting you up for failure. If you know that your goal and your mission, like mine is this year, is to not buy anything, especially clothes, then we have to remove the temptation as best as we can. Now, in keeping with the idea that I'm getting off of the participation in fashion as a hobby, this year, pretty sure, don't hold me to this, but like when they create apps for the phone, like they're probably tracking you, they're probably selling you data. Nothing would surprise me at all. I guess this is part of the exercise in making your phone less fun. As I mentioned in the beginning, your phone is the mall wrapped in a casino. I want to reestablish control over myself and over my time and over where my resources go to. This is not the agreement that I signed up for, so I'm divesting. Delete the shopping apps. You don't need them. Now, this obviously requires having multiple devices. This is an iPad. What I'm trying to do this year, and I think I started this last year too, is use these devices for different purposes, meaning that I keep different apps on them. So when I'm reading an ebook, for example, that will go here in my iPad. My phone goes in my pocket, goes with me all day long, and I just try to be cognizant. What do I actually need immediate access to at all times? That is the phone calls, the text messages, emails, navigation, honestly. We're getting rid of most of the apps, but I keep my ebooks on. I keep the Libby app for audiobooks on here. YouTube's on here because I kind of listen to YouTube as though it's a podcast. Podcasts go on here. Anything that truly makes sense for me to have at the ready on a moment's notice goes onto this phone. Anything else, it can go here. For a while, I kept Instagram here because, and I don't know how old a lot of you are watching this, but I remember the before times. I'm 34 and we used to have the internet at home. And I want to go back to the idea that the internet is at home. Obviously, your phone is in your pocket, but access to all of the world's information, access to your MySpace account, access to all your friends and their party pictures, all that was back at home. And that's kind of what I'm trying to reestablish with my devices that I pay for. Which deliberately is to say that it is absurd the lack of control that we actually have over these devices that we spend thousands of dollars for over the course of our lives. But we're gonna have to set that aside. Yeah, I also do more activities that literally force me to put my phone down. So those are activities that require both of my eyeballs and my hands. There's a certain brand of dog treats that I buy for my child. They're like jerky strips, and she's little, she's like 20 pounds. So I actually take the time every couple of weeks to cut them into little squares. It's a tedious, monotonous task that requires all of my attention. And I'll play an ebook in the background, I'll play a podcast, maybe even watch a movie, but again, this is in an effort to rewire my brain to focus on tasks that I've almost lost entirely over the last 10 years. We are trying to heal our neural pathways in 2025 by cutting up dog treats. That's what this has come to. Okay, that is a very specific example, but a lot of people are taking up knitting. A lot of people are like mending their clothes. I'll say that when I have to like do the dishes or fold laundry, like I honestly find respite in doing some of these little chores. I know it's not fun. I know it's probably not what you want to hear. Obviously, yes, you can go play a sport. You can go play solitaire with real cards, stuff like that. But find activities that require both your eyeballs and both your hands. I gave you mine. Share yours in the comment down below. And the more embarrassing, the better it will make me feel for sharing. This is what it's come to. And you know, honestly, there is this whole like idea and concept that people are trying to aestheticize reading or like make it into like the new it girl thing to do. And I need to remind us, like, I think that enough people understand that like these things are not good for us and we want to take our attention away from them. You guys know anything about me, that you know that I am not into the idea of status signaling. I think that the point of reading books is the information or the story that you get from the book, the experience of the story. Once again, if we all just focus collectively on ourselves, be selfish, like we talked about earlier, then there's going to be less discourse about that. I think the point is that we want to get off of our phones. And so long as we have a public library that is free, where you can rent books from, where you can rent ebooks and read them on your tablet, there are other ways to have like downtime away from time that you spend working or, you know, otherwise taking care of household chores, etc. Like, people want to be able to use their brains in a way that is not just productive necessarily. I don't know that humans were put on this earth to only serve capital accumulation. Making fun of people for reading as an aesthetic is just the same behavior that I saw towards the end of my experience of the luxury community, and I'm so not with it. Please don't do that and leave people alone. Let them read. Let them read. Leave them alone. And what I want to end this with is, you know, these are these are definitely like a singular transformation in human civilization that can serve us if we let it. I want to get back into the belief, understanding, and internalization that these are tools that I use to serve my interests as much as possible. Like, just like any other electronic device, a toaster, a refrigerator, it has a purpose that serves me, right? The toaster toasts the bread. The refrigerator keeps the food cold, thus preserving it. I have lately, in the past 6 months or so, been in the practice of like deliberately saying out loud in one sentence what a thing's function is if I own it. Which is to say that not all screen time is created equal. These things are portals into like every possible corner aspect of the globe and of like all of the information that the human mind has ever put out into the world, right? So that means that it can help us. I've talked a lot about reading ebooks and listening to audiobooks and podcasts about whatever it is that you're interested in. Use this thing to work out. I have like these free is my favorite word, yoga and Pilates classes that I you know, take this with a speaker and a yoga mat and go out on my balcony and we'll do a class. The classes are like 20 minutes or so long. Whenever I find a moment, just go do that. Go do that. Find recipes on here. I use it to play music while I'm cooking. Like, use this to watch movies. And time spent watching a movie or a series is not the same as like sitting an hour, like scrolling through an hour of like 7-second TikToks. The time we spend on these things should be in furtherance of our goals and our needs, right? This year, the goal that I want this device to serve is in helping me to not purchase anything from any of the categories that I am not allowing myself to partake in this year. And damn it, I'm gonna make it happen. Especially since I have to pay for it, I want to use it for my own ends. That is my radical thought for the video.
And of course, the most important thing that I'm doing these days is just leaving my phone at home sometimes. I go out for walks with the dog. They're about 20 minutes, 3 to 4, sometimes 5 times a day. And one of those walks, I just decide to leave the screen at home interact with the outside world and just not be attached to the screen 24 hours, 7 days a week. There is no good reason why every moment of our waking lives has to be mediated through a tech company or a corporation. And just having a walk outside every day without the screen in my pocket, without something buzzing me, without something to stare at, no music, no podcasts, no audiobooks, just me alone with my thoughts for 20 minutes. These things are not organs, they're not appendages. We don't need to be attached to them every single waking moment of our lives. And just like anyone else, most of the walks I do keep headphones in. I do have my phone on me, and I'm using it for a purpose, listening to a podcast, or listening to a book, sometimes even listening to music. And the way that my life is set up currently, there is no emergency phone call that I can't just return in the 15 or 20 minutes when I get back. It's not that serious. I've been in this practice for a couple of months now, and ultimately what I find is when I get back home and check my notifications, 99% of the time there's nothing there, there's nothing I missed out on. They're preying on our FOMO, and they don't have to, and we don't have to let them.
That's it for this video for now. If you have any other tips or advice on what you're doing to curb your no-buy, specifically with the screens, because I think the screens are just such a double-edged sword. They're the best, worst invention I think humanity has ever met. I hope you like this. If you have any thoughts that you'd like to add, any feedback, any suggestions or questions, then definitely leave them commented down below. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you for being along with me on this ride to kicking consumerism and getting rid of all of my shopping addiction consumerist proclivities. So thanks so much, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.